You can edit that out, right? He won't be here next episode.
Hey there, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to another episode of the True Discussion Podcast. You know, I think it's the only podcast in the world where we can discuss anything with anyone and we know if it's true or not, because we going to stand on that sweet word of God. We are still your hosts. My name is Joseph Dobbs. And I'm joined by the
one and only.
The one and only.
Super tall. The tall. Christopher Douglas?
When people meet you, they describe you as super tall. Yeah.
Nope. Never happened.
Well, Chris, how's things going in your life, bud? Hopefully your week.
Here we go again, right? Hot dog. Man. Yeah, actually, today has been just a real crap storm, actually.
Sorry.
So,
You
but good. Not bad.
Like crap storm you can talk about on the podcast, or crap storm we probably got to drink like a 6-pack after. And
I mean, we actually probably could, but okay. So last week you're like, hey man, you know, when I ask you this question, it's never like, oh, it's super great, and it's not again. However,
okay,
man, last week we talked about wrestling and just sort of the struggles that I was having with my youngest boy in wrestling and this and that. So he wrestled this weekend. Which again, it took like a week to kind of like, man, you know, are we doing the right thing? Should we engage it? Should we take a step back? Like, what should we do in terms of competition? Dude, awesome weekend.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, absolutely, man. Like, to be honest, I think, and he did not. I think he lost more than he won.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, like, just emotionally, like a night and day difference. And like one of the matches that he wrestled, he actually lost, and it was a close one. I think it was his best match all year. And he lost by 2 points. And really, I think if he had another 10 seconds in that match, I think he would have got a takedown and he would have at least gone into overtime. But at any rate, the kid never quit. Never quit, dude. Like
stuff.
He wasn't like emotionally like throwing a fit or kind of losing it, getting overwhelmed, anxious, none of that stuff, man. I could not be more proud of that. So yeah, man, very cool. So that was good. We hosted our local tournament this weekend, so and I've not been like overly stressed or anything like that, but at the same time, I wanted it to go well, and there's a lot of checks and balances, and I'm learning, and so but things went very well, man. I can't complain as far as that goes.
Dude.
So.
Well, I hate to surprise you. Then we're gonna have a segment. It's a brand new segment. It's called.
What's it called?
I was gonna call it "Things That Make Our Wife Mad." We're gonna list stuff. No, I'm just kidding,
dude. I did it again, man.
No,
what's wrong with me?
Who are you? Are you a male and are you married? And has it been a week? Yeah, then we can all raise our hand, right?
That we
I'm make our wife.
Gosh,
or annoy him. We all fall short of that, man. I'm right there with you. I struggle with, and Mrs. Dobbs. I don't believe she listens to the podcast, but just for her sake, there's just something that happened in our household. I don't think she wants light on it, and so maybe it's not the spot. But as a man, I struggle with dealing with sensitive scenarios, at the same time having to be blunt and deal with just harsh truths. I cannot balance those perfectly. And if I'm being honest, I always default to I can be a harsh, blunt guy way easier than I can be a tender, nurturing guy. And so there it is, man. We fall short. And I fully recognize when a scenario calls for the emotional, like just be there. Honestly, probably at the end of the day, the answer is shut your mouth and just listen.
Right, sure.
But man, as a guy, like, don't we just want to say the thing to fix the thing and do it now? And I don't know. Yeah. So thank you for our wives for being patient. And
but isn't it such a challenge? And I think it's been a while now, but like we talked a little bit in depth about like do not be harsh with our wives in that.
I know, man.
And at the same time, and it's not like an intentional harshness. And I don't even know. Like today, I went home for lunch, and so I I'm home for a very short period of time during lunch.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I usually go to the gym, but I like to go and see. It's usually Megan and Emery that are home over lunch, but the kids didn't have school today and that. And so, I go and I went and ran at lunch today, and then I came home, but I'm there for a short time. And so she's trying to vent to me like this frustration that she was dealing with. And my intention was not to be harsh by any means, but she's telling me all the details, and I don't have a lot of time. And so I'm just like trying to like not rush her through it, but like, so did you get it or you didn't get it? You know what I'm saying? And so, and of course that really upset her and I'm just like, I don't have time for all the details. I just really need the facts. And most of the time, I feel like that's, generally speaking, I don't know if you can relate to that, but usually...
Just give me the nuts and bolts
that's
right now.
Really what I want. I don't need the...
Roller coaster ride.
The whole process.
How did you feel? And how did they
call
feel?
Me back.
Yeah. Like...
And I'm not trying to be harsh, and I'm sure she's listening right now, just rolling her eyes. And now I'm gonna see her after I get off work today, and she's gonna be mad again about this.
No,
hot dog.
Homeboy got your back. I'm gonna edit this whole segment out, and the wives will never know.
Yeah, gosh darn it. So, and then she gets upset about it, and I'm like, gosh darn it. I'm not. It wasn't personal at all. Like it wasn't. I wasn't even harsh about it.
Yeah.
But then there's other times where it's like I'm just not going to say anything. But of course that does more damage too, because it's like sometimes I feel like I can't win, man, because I'm trying to toe the line of I don't want to say anything right now because I'm kind of ticked off about whatever, and I don't want to take it out on anybody. But then by not saying anything, it's also, man.
Well, if anyone's been married longer than a day, surely you've experienced this where it really feels like the enemy is playing on both you guys, and both of you you have this weird, like, it's not like a anger, but there's something in the air where both parties are like, let's just say angry at each other, and no one wants to cross the line and throw up the white flag. And then, a day of this goes by and both of you go, oh, you're not mad? Oh, I thought you were. Like, there's this weird, like, then what was in the air? Why were we?
Yeah.
I don't know. Right? Like, it seems like a common thing. I really feel like the enemy's, like, pecking at both of you at the same time when it's
let me ask you a question. What if someone said marriage is easy? What would you say to them?
No, it's not. You're not married, are you? That's what you're not married.
You're a single guy.
No, to be honest, my students ask about, because they'll ask about marriage, and sort of knock on wood, Shay and I have never, yet have had what we would call like an argument, like a big, like, whoa, that was an explosive thing. That's not good. We've obviously have been mad at each other. We have had frustrating moments, and they're probably all towards me. I grant that. But anyhow, so the students will ask me, like, what is marriage like? What are some of the tough times, stuff like that? And I'll be honest with them. I'm like, it is hard. I am honest about that. Marriage is hard because you're taking two sinful human beings and saying, be with each other forever now.
Right, yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you get a little break.
Yeah.
You actually get more, I mean...
With your flaws and his flaws and like just there's
flesh
a lot.
and
oh gosh,
all that stuff. Yeah, it's tough.
It's all on the table, man, as it should be, right?
Yeah.
And that being said, when the students ask, I am honest with them, but I do always end it with let the record show too. I never badmouth my bride.
Show. Hold on, I want that on the record, you guys. All right, we're good.
No, yeah, like if there's something bad, I always make sure like, well, I'm to blame, guys. Like I'm
sure.
I know I'm hard to love. So Shay,
yeah, but is that
you.
False? I get the not bad.
Hey, she's hard to love too.
Like,
I mean,
yeah, I'm just gonna say like it's not. I feel like, and that's the truth, right? Like it takes two.
We all have our days where it's like, oh, you're a hard person to love today, bro.
Yeah. Okay. But I tend to agree though.
That I'm hard to love.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I as a man, like I feel like I'm hard to love.
Yeah. So that being said, I do, however, though, always end it with letting the students know, all that stuff. But you guys, at the end of the day, marriage is pretty freaking awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it. I love my bride. There's not been one moment, even in those moments of like, oh, I'm frustrated at her today. I still just absolutely love and cherish my bride.
Oh, absolutely.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I love
I can relate
the
with that.
snot out of that woman.
All
and-
of the snot.
All of the snot of that woman. And so I just want my carpentry guys to know that. Like, I don't know, man, because I remember growing up, my perspectives that the world gives you, every lesson you seem to get from the world is that the old ball and chain.
Oh,
all
sure.
you do is you just dump on your bride to your friends behind her back. You never want to go home. I'd rather be at work. Like, that's what I got from the world growing up. Like, marriage, geez, marriage must suck. Why would anyone do it?
Right.
And I never got the like, no, marriage is awesome. Like, in your dark hours, you got a guaranteed person right by your side, in the living room, in the bed, like everywhere. She's
Right,
with you, so
yeah.
right by your side, man.
Well, can I? Okay, let me ask you another question. None of this are on our show notes, right? But do you? And Ada's pretty young, but do you guys have? And I'm not. Obviously, there's some conflict that it's like, no, but this is definitely going to be behind closed door.
Yeah.
But do you guys have conflict in front of Ada?
I want to. Shay would probably be better at answering that because I want to say, in my eyes, no. But I do know there's times where we are going back and forth in front of her. But and so this is probably where I need the bride to get in here and give the answer, because in my mind, it's still okay what we're saying in front of her. But
Right.
if it got too like, whoa.
But there, is there a distinction? I guess, or is there?
Yeah, because it's still being fruitful. We're getting to the truth of the matter.
Right.
But the moment, and we all have been victim to this, there's a moment when both parties leave the point of contention and now we just got boxing gloves on.
Right, sure.
That's no good.
Right.
Don't ever do that crap in front of your kids.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
I
I
agree.
want to say we have never done that in front of Ada. But if we're still talking about the point, I'll confess, I'm the first to, my voice will go from, okay, I'm up to a 9.
I'm up to a 9.
I'm going to get to a 10 if you know what I mean? Like, I'm the
Right.
first to do it. And of course the other party's going to match you.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. Well, right.
yeah. And so,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I would agree with you. I feel like there are some conflicts that it's behind closed doors, right? But there are other conflicts that we've had that it is in front of the kids, and a part
Sure.
of it, I believe, and I might be wrong. Maybe the listener can chime in here, but I think it's healthy to display, right? Like, we're gonna have conflict, right? To display healthy conflict resolution.
Yeah.
And so when I say conflict, I'm not even saying it's a big deal, right? Like, hey, where are we going to eat? Or
Right.
Hey, I was supposed to turn back there, but you're doing a not so great job on the navigation, or, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
There might be that little squabble or whatever, but being able to show the kids, like, hey, and I'm not fabricating conflict. I'm just simply saying, like, hey, we're not always going to get along. We're going to have this conflict, but this is how you do it, right? It never got personal. It never got
figure it out.
heated. Like, my feathers got ruffled and hers did as well.
Right.
But this is how you resolve that, right? Like, I got to own my stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I shouldn't have talked to you that way, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so then you move on.
Yeah.
And so modeling that.
Well, and I would say, Shane are now at the point where we have a child that is old enough to mimic everything we say.
Sure.
So that puts another guard on your mouth where you're like,
Right.
okay,
yeah.
now I have to be careful what I say. Because even like, I'm big on saying, let me give context, because I don't want people to hear me like, oh, you say that to your wife. I say shut up a lot to everyone I talk to.
Right.
Like, if you were to be like, hey, Joseph, I squatted 500 pounds today, first thing I'd be like, shut up. I say shut up. Like, I say it to everyone.
Yeah.
Ada's at the point now, she'll go, Dad, don't say that. That's mean. I'm like,
yeah.
she doesn't know that I'm using it as like just a casual way, but I'm aware of that. I don't want her to see things
Right.
and go, oh, well, Dad does it, so it is okay to tell people to
Right,
shut up all the
yeah.
time, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you're very careful of like, okay, now how do I talk in front of my daughter, my tone and everything?
Yeah. Mine is like, I fart And so Emery is
So
like,
Emery,
she farts. What are you going to do?
all right, man. That being said, I kind of want to throw this out there too. So again, not to put light on because I don't want to embarrass my wife, but our household is dealing with something. So what I wanted to let people know was this, and I know it's a cheese. I'm gonna be a cheeseburger here for a second, K, and just be a big cheese ball. But brothers and sisters, like, help each other out. Everyone is carrying their cross of some form or fashion, okay? And the sad part is, a lot of us aren't aware of what our brothers and sisters are carrying. And I'm not saying you need to know every single thing that everyone is going through, but people are constantly going through stuff. And so be aware of that, man. And I don't mean that as in give your brothers and sisters special treatment and, sort of toss the non-believers to the side. Every image bearer, just treat them with the value and dignity that they deserve, right? Everyone is going through something, you guys. Someone may have just found out their spouse is running around on them. Someone may have just found out their kid is on drugs. Someone may have just had a loved one die. Like, stuff is always happening. Mm-hmm. And you don't know. Yeah. And so just, man, encourage one another, be there for one another. And I guess I want to move on. I don't want to be a cheese ball, but people are bearing stuff, man.
No, I get it. And you're absolutely right. And I think being intentional about how we engage one another and continuing to develop relationships, I think that they always need work, right? Like, to some degree, I'm able to hang out with you, generally speaking, at least once a week. And, we do a podcast and stuff like that. Obviously there's talk off the air and, we engage and it's cool. And I feel like that is a constant sort of investment in that regard. But even at that, right, there still could be some things that you're going through that maybe I don't know about. Mm-hmm. But again, there is that relationship too, where that I care about you, man. And so that's what we should strive to be and do. Now, a little bit of a shift, but it definitely ties in a little bit, is that I've been thinking about this a lot lately, especially since really since before Kyle Thompson, but also that is sort of, stirred the pot a little more or thrown some more fuel in it. But, as it pertains to being men, like what kind of men? And one of the things I keeps coming back to me is just being a man of action, right? Yeah. Being men of action. So, we weren't bagging on our wives. I think we're bagging on ourselves. But at the end of the day, being a man of action is recognizing that, man, I was a bonehead at lunch today. And we've talked since and all that. Yeah. And we're good. But I want to reaffirm her. I want to do that. Not because I need to make sure I don't have to sleep on the couch. It's not like that. Right. I want to be a man of action in that I want my bride to know that I cherish her and I'm partnered with her. And her voice is valuable to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just in this frame where I didn't have a lot of time. And so I'm feeling rushed. And, I think I can feel like that pretty often. And part of it might be I'm kind of a busy guy, But I don't know, man. I think if we recognize where we need to be men of action, right? Don't make excuses about stuff. So.
Well, I was kind of, you kind of beat me to it, actually. I did want to make a tie-in to, not necessarily Kyle as an individual, but the concept of this foxhole again. What I wanted to do with that was say, my little speech of like, hey, let's be there for each other, carry each other's burdens, encourage one another, right? But that's also, I'm going to say something obvious for those of you who don't know. We can't read each other's minds. Yeah. I can't help you carry something if you don't tell me about it. And so to those who are constantly struggling with something and you go, man, I need someone to help me out. And why isn't someone checking in on me or this or that? Dude, speak up. Right. Take a step.
Because we all have our own stuff too.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's not that I can't put mine down to come help. It's not that. Because I can. I'm definitely
Right,
available
right.
and willing to do that. But again, I'm dealing with my own stuff here.
Right.
And so I do, there needs to be that communication.
Right.
And sometimes I think that's the hardest thing. But again, going back to being a man or an individual of action is just that. I recognize that my go-to might be, hey, I'm just going to put my nose to the grinding stone and I'm just going to continue to work. Or
Right.
I'm in this tough spot. So, hey, I'm going to go. I just want to go and be by myself or whatever it might be. I'm not saying that's all bad, but sometimes is that the most healthy thing, right? And so that man of action is to say, hey, listen, Joseph, I am struggling with this. What do you think? Or
Right.
man, how, can you partner with me in that? Whatever that is.
Yep.
I think that those are valuable things.
Well,
So,
no, and so, yeah, absolutely. Why I wanted to tie into the foxholes because, and this goes for ladies too, man, get your own foxhole. Get that group that man, I'm carrying something heavy. I need a group, 2, 3, 4 people close to me. 3 a.m. buddies that I know will come help me.
Yeah.
For whatever. And so if we could, I just wanted to take a dive back into that foxhole real quick, Chris, because you kind of hit me up with something today, and just for the listeners who maybe you didn't catch our episode on the foxhole with Kyle Thompson, go check it out, episode 65. I'm taking a guess.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up. But go check it out. It's a really good one.
well, and we linked to his series
actually,
on our website. So,
well, of course, I want to direct you to us. But
Yeah,
if
well,
you want to
absolutely.
learn all
Yeah.
about the foxhole, go check out his series.
well, listen to ours first, of course.
Duh. So that being said, the reason why I'm going back to that, you guys, is because this is a thing you need. Okay, it's. I don't want to say if you don't have a foxhole, then you're a failure at life. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm just saying, man, here's a nice tool that is very, very fruitful to have under your belt. So have this group of very, very close guys or gals, whatever, females, if you got your own foxhole. They're going to help you build resilience mentally, spiritually, physically. Okay. So here's the thing. I only wanted to touch on this for a minute just because I don't want people to get the wrong idea or the wrong understanding of a foxhole. Okay. So a foxhole is a very super specific, intentional group that you are going to be in and have and be a part of actively. Okay. And again, the big pitch for me that Kyle said, it's your 3 a.m. guys. People that can show up 3 a.m., not 6 p.m., right? Anyone can show up at 6 p.m. when burgers are on the grill and you have free beer. Any idiot will show up at 6 p.m. You can get 6 p.m. friends without even trying.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So what I don't want is people to walk away and go, oh, foxhole, good concept. Yeah, I got it. And you go, well, who? Oh, it's all the guys in my church. No. Let me back up.
Probably not.
But probably not, right? And so I wanted to be clear. Chris and I had this talk today on the phone that just because you go to a church, that church is not your foxhole.
Right.
Okay. Now that church is good. That's a good support group. That's some brothers and sisters. That's obviously a good thing. It's not your foxhole. You're good buddies still with some college guys and you see them once every 6 months. That's great. Stay in touch with them. That's not your foxhole though.
Right. Yeah.
Gosh, what else? You're close with your dad and you take a fishing trip once a year. That's great. That's not necessarily your foxhole. Now here's where it gets, there's a nuance. He could be in your foxhole. What I'm saying is don't take any just willy-nilly group you have in your life and establish it. Boom. Oh, that's my foxhole because that's a group I'm in. No.
Well, I think that there's some important things, and Kyle does a really good job of laying it out. And obviously, everybody's context is going to be a little bit different, and the things that they value per se, and this and that. I guess I'll put it this way, right? Like if I'm developing this foxhole of men, right, that are 3 a.m. friends that I can rely on, okay. But I'm also looking I want to be better. A year from now, I want to be a better man. I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better father. And most importantly, I want to be more disciplined to the things of God. So whatever that looks like, right? Whether that's understanding the word more or developing the ability to do whatever it is that God has called me to do. Okay. I want to be better. And think about it in terms of this, right? Like if I'm surrounded by guys that they were reliable, fairly reliable, but are they committed? Right? Are they those 3 a.m. friends?
Right.
Are they committed? Are they in the same pursuit of, I want to be stronger. I want to be physically stronger a year from now, right? I want to be better. I want to read more. I want to, again, that spiritual aspect of things. I want to do all those things better.
Mm-hmm.
So am I surrounded by guys that want those same things, that are going to push me, right? Like I had a practice last Thursday, wrestling practice. And that was one of the things that we talked about, or I talked about with the kids was, there's a young man who we were getting warmed up and we were doing sprints. And this kid is like, he's hauling, man. And one of the things I like to do is to say, hey, I'll get him going a little bit. And then it's like, okay, hey, listen, if you win this next one, you don't have to go the next time. And I'm telling you, man, those kids get after it. Now, there's a kid that he was kicking butt, okay? But the thing is that he's running fast, and every one of those kids are doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So he, in a sense, he's kind of dragging them along. And that makes sense, right? Like we're racing.
Sure.
Okay. So it's the same thing in this physical, spiritual, mental aspect, in that if I am pushing, because there's been times where you're like, I feel like you're all about it and you're like digging in, and I'm like, dang, man, I feel like I'm in a desert here. Like, heck no. Excuse me. I'm bringing something to the table here, man. This guy's not having all the glory, and I don't, not glory, but like, I see that in that enthusiasm. And so it pulls me up, man, to be about that business. And so which is going to make a better difference, right? Surround yourself by those guys that are hungry in these aspects, where that are pushing themselves already.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're getting into that fold or bringing them into the fold. And so then you're all going to push each other in these different areas. And look, there are going to be people that are more intelligent or more physical or more, whatever, more spiritual in that regard. And every one of those things brings such value, that individuality to some degree. And so,
well, I think Kyle kind of mentioned it too. Like, ideally, if you could have the perfect foxhole, you'd want at least one guy who is the mental guy of like, that guy's, he's sharp.
Right.
Like, I love having him in my group. You want the spiritual guy who's like, man, he's a spiritual warrior.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's in my group. And the physical guy who's like, who could kick your butt and wants to teach you. Like, we need that.
Yeah,
we
absolutely,
need it.
man. Absolutely.
Oh, I was going to go somewhere else with that. Now one other thing, Chris, too. I love a point that you made about the foxhole. Not only are you specific and intentional with the group, but also the meeting of the group, right? We're not just getting together. For instance, the guys' foxhole. If we're trying to meet Sunday night, we don't say, oh, let's make a thing of it. The wives and the kids, they'll all come. We'll have birthday cakes and burgers and all that stuff. It'll be a hoot. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. That's a hoot.
Yeah,
that sounds
cool.
fun. Sign me up.
Great
but that's not our foxhole meeting.
No.
And the point I love that you made was, well, the reason like that's not foxhole worthy is because if we're going to get into it, like iron is going to sharpen iron, some real discussion has to take place. And how are you going to do that when kids are running around, playing games and laughing, crying, and now you have to take care of kids? You're still being in the dad role.
Right. Yeah.
But we're trying to take
be
care
able to
of business.
leave that.
Right.
And set aside this time, and this is what we're doing. We're focused on these things.
The thing I said to you too, I like we don't do that with anything else that's of value to us.
Right.
Like training in a sport is the one I threw at you. Like if we're training for a sport and I got a competition coming up, I don't go, oh, I got to train for this competition. You know, it'd be a good idea is to drag along my wife and kids to every training session.
Right.
No, you set that time aside and sharpen up some iron, man.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so just be intentional. I just don't want the concept to get thrown out there and then people take it and just really water it down and make it super comfy and turn into a giant hug and go, that's my foxhole. Well, no, you're just having fun, and
Sure.
which is okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Not a foxhole. Okay, you're just
Right.
missing the idea.
And it's
So-
not, again, it's not bad. That's not what you're saying
no yeah.
either. You're just-
Have your get-togethers.
Yeah,
who
absolutely.
doesn't love get-togethers and
Yeah,
having fellowship
absolutely.
and
Oh, speaking of fellowship, iron, and all that stuff.
what?
Dude, the end of last week, went to my first jujitsu class, bro.
You did. That's your first one.
Yeah.
So my wife,
It was freaking awesome.
they posted photos up on Facebook. And she said
Oh,
you
man.
were in there, and I was like, oh, I guess he's going. But that was your first
Yeah,
one?
my very first one.
Oh,
Dude,
how
so
is
cool.
it?
Oh, I freaking love it.
That's dope.
It might be the second greatest sport.
After just one session?
I'm telling you, man, like I was sore. I mean,
That's
I don't
awesome.
know if you, and again, so maybe I'm just wired a little different, but like the going and just exerting so much energy and just like that's all you can think about, in that moment, right? Like I'm not thinking about the bills. I'm not thinking about the kids. I'm not thinking about all the stuff I got to get done. I'm not thinking about all the texts and calls I'm getting from all these other wrestling clubs because they need to get their kid weighed. I'm not thinking about any of that stuff. Okay, I'm thinking about breathing so I don't die. You know what I'm saying?
Not
And,
getting my arm snapped.
Right. And so I love it.
It's fun, man.
I love it, man. And just to be so dog tired, it's just great.
Okay, so, and I don't know if the listeners want to know about this or not, but I do, and it's our show. So you coming from a wrestling background, going into jiu-jitsu, this was your first session.
Yeah.
Were you totally out of your element, or is there an easy transition where you're like, no, this is...
I don't want to say easy, but yes, it
Okay.
definitely gave me a leg up, man.
Whereas, like, I have had no fights in my life.
Right.
I've never done wrestling. Would I go into jiu-jitsu in my first session and go, what am I getting? What's going on?
Maybe. I don't know. Because you make a great point.
I don't know anything. I mean,
right,
that's I'm
because
starting
I
at zero.
do feel like just body position, leverage, all movement, that kind of stuff. I feel like I had, I don't want to say not a leg up on them, but just on someone who has nothing. So yeah, man, there was times where I felt like I kind of held my own for sure, but again, still being limited on obviously some of the technique and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, as far as movement goes, yeah, man, I feel like it's helpful. And
Okay.
so and I think that's why I enjoy it too.
So, because the guy moved here, and so he's instructing it, right?
Mhm.
So I'm assuming he's here to stay. He moved
Yeah,
and
I
started a
assume.
business.
Mhm.
Okay. So I don't know if I want to call it or just ask you now, will there be a jiu-jitsu competition in your future? Let me hold up before you answer. Because I was just watching a video before you came over, and it was talking about learning how to fight. And this guy is a big believer in strength training.
Mhm.
And then once you're strong enough, he's like, it doesn't matter how strong you are because you don't have any skills. So go
Right.
get some skills.
Yeah.
And he was pushing jujitsu, and he goes, and then if you're going to do that, you need to measure it. So you better be competing. Okay. So your answer.
Yeah. For me, yeah, absolutely. Now, that's not a big focus on their school currently, because again, it's fairly new. I'm trying to think of how long they've been open. Maybe 6 months. I'm not sure, but that's not something that they're focused on now. But there are competitions because that is something I asked about. But
So you already asked about it.
yeah.
So sign up.
I'm not. Listen.
How do you know how
am-
long until your next first competition?
No,
Can you guess?
no. I'm not doing. I'm not even close to that.
Okay.
As far as when but I am the type of guy where
But will it happen?
if I stick with it, heck yeah.
You think so? Okay.
Dude, you can't. What are you going to measure it against? Like
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't want to do anything
wanna see
for
it.
nothing.
Yeah.
right.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm not that guy.
No, yeah. As far as I know, anytime you get into something, you turn into a competition. I mean,
Yeah.
okay.
Absolutely. Right. You want to chop up some jalapenos? Let's
If we-
see how fast we can do it.
Everything's a
All
competition.
right. Touch your eye.
Who's the better co-host here? Okay, let's. We got 30 minutes tops. if
Wait,
we
hold
wanna-
on. though.
Oh, what?
Hold on. So I want to invite you. You got to come, right? You got to give it a shot. Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Wait, back up.
Am I allowed to do one session and go, Yeah, it wasn't for me.
Wait,
Or
have
is
you
that really
listened
sissy?
to Kyle's purple belt episode?
No.
He just got promoted to purple belt from a blue
Now, I've
belt.
seen that on Instagram.
Right.
Okay.
And so he did a whole episode, and I'm
and
telling
purple
you,
belt's only the second belt.
it's third.
Oh, I was joking. Okay.
No, it's very like it was very. And again, it's something I've wanted to try for a long time, anyways.
Sure.
But it was a very compelling thing. But one of the things that he said, and I was like, dang. I was actually going to ask him if I couldn't quote him on it, but but he said, "What is your current exercise life? What is that going to do for you in a practical situation, right? Like if your wife is being attacked, like what is your current exercise life? What is that going to do to equip you to handle that, right? Like, and again, it's not to minimize those things because I think the other thing, yes, wrestling background for sure, but the other thing that I've been doing for years now is running, right? So there is this level of endurance that I have that is good, that it translates. Now, it doesn't mean I didn't get winded, because I definitely got winded. It's different stuff, man.
I would get rolled then.
Right, like I was literally sored from my neck to my toes, literally my toes. And so, but at the same time, like I feel like I was hanging in there, man. And so those things help. So if I got into a scrap, or I had to protect my wife, I'm going to default to my highest level of training.
Right. That
And so, which we know. Yeah. And so it's like, man, all of those things, those are compelling things. And so I was like, man, I got to give this a shot.
I think it's compelling for, now I'm not trying to, ladies, I'm not trying to throw you out or anything. Cause obviously you should do it. Self-defense is wonderful. Everyone should do it.
Yeah.
But I would argue, as a man, leader of the house, protector, you better be able to fill that shoe, the protector.
Right.
So
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess if you'd invite me, I'd come to one. But
yeah, you should definitely do that.
No, that would be fun. What if I got bit by the bug and then I got to go? Is it once a week?
Actually, it's twice a week.
Twice a week. Okay.
But I did. Oh man.
We'll get in. Let's move on, because the listeners don't want to hear about that. We'll talk about it after. Chris, what's the thing you want to?
Actually, there's two things, but I know time is sort of a situation, but you're gonna love this, okay?
You said that before we pressed it.
I know, man. And this one, unfortunately, I don't want to spend as much time as I initially did, but however, okay. So the Biden administration, and this is coming off of
one of my favorite
news,
administrations,
the Blaze. Theblaze.com, okay?
Yeah.
So the Biden administration will soon fund the distribution of crack pipes to drug addicts in underserved communities for the purpose of advancing racial equity. And this comes, they're quoting the Washington Free Beacon.
What did I just hear?
Yep. Yeah.
This is for real.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this article that the Washington Free Beacon had written, the DHHS, their fiscal year of 2022, the Harm Reduction Program grant program, which is, and this is documented, man. The crack pipe plan is described as the distribution of federal government funds for the slightly more anodyne smoking kit supplies.
Holy crap.
Yeah, bro.
What is happening?
So the distribution kit will provide safer pipes for drug addicts to use when
smoking crack. You can say
when they smoke crack cocaine, crystal methamphetamine.
What is happening?
Any illicit substance. The spokesman reportedly explained that the supplied pipes will reduce users' chances of becoming infected. Glass pipes, often used by addicts, can sometimes lead to infection through cuts and sores.
This isn't real. Is this real?
This is real, dude. This is very real. Okay, so the grant program worth almost $30 million.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Oh man. And so
of our money.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Free Beacon, they reported that the applicants for this grant money will be prioritized for selection if they promise to use the funds in underserved communities, including where there are large African American and LGBTQ populations, as established under President Biden's executive order on advancing racial equity and support for the underserved.
Hey, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Yeah.
He said that. This is insane. I don't know what to say to this.
Yeah.
Except that I keep thinking it's fake.
No, this is real, dude.
Okay, like how is the country not just absolutely upset at this administration? Clearly desperate for underprivileged votes is what that is. But what a weird... What?
Okay, but it's illegal. These are illegal drugs. So you're basically like, hey, here you go.
Right. So the pipe is not illegal, right? I'm going to give you a tool to do the illegal thing because I don't want you to have an infected pipe.
Now, you're not passing out condoms. And sex is legal.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? So you're not, that's not what you're doing. You are advocating to some degree, right? Now,
that's what it's for smoking.
To some degree,
they listed what it's for.
Right. Well, absolutely. But you're advocating that they use drugs.
But as long as they use a safer pipe.
Right. I don't know, man.
I thought Black Lives mattered.
Yeah, right. And that's the other thing.
Holy
moly.
So
interesting.
Not that only black people smoke crack. Like, so many people could take that out of context.
But
and
how
be like,
many glass pipes are you going to get for $30 million? And who's the company that's making these things?
Well, who's the company that's making
I don't know.
That better be American made, baby. A crack pipe that says made in the USA, baby. That's my tax dollars. Give me my crack pipe.
Isn't that weird, though?
That's not the word I would have chosen.
We are so far from truth, man. So far from truth. Right. So there's
when did this come out?
This actually came.
Is it like today or? Because I have not heard about that.
February 7th. Yeah, today. This dropped today, man.
My goodness.
But there's a quote from, and I wanted to read this real quick. But it's Sergeant Clyde Boatwright. He's the president of the Maryland Fraternal Order of Police. He said, if we look at more of a preventative campaign as opposed to an enabling campaign, I think we'll offer the opportunity to have safer communities with fewer people who are dependent upon these substances. Because really, because you can go to jail for having possession of a substance, or even paraphernalia.
What in the
so
crap?
They're basically saying, like, hey, we're not going to arrest people if they got a crack pipe, no big deal, right? You got needle, no big deal.
What is happening right now?
I don't know, but that's wild. So
you can't be upset at the administration if you're high out of your mind. Come on, it's a pretty good game plan.
Okay, so the other thing I wanted to
and then we just got to move on to the next topic after that.
Did you want to get into
atomic turd?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I want to. This is new. I did not hear about this. If it dropped today, after we're done recording, I want to go read about it because that's like, in what world?
That's our tax money.
Is that a good idea? That's going to get pushed. I don't get it.
Ours. That's happening in the United States, man. Something else that might irritate you just a little bit. And actually...
this isn't a good news, bad news? Like they're both bad news?
No. This is both bad news. And this is actually pigtailing on to what we talked about last week. Now, this is not prophetic but the writing is definitely on the wall. Okay, so something that has come out, Facebook is shutting down accounts for Christian ministries and counseling... Actually, let me back up. So this is off of the Daily Citizen. And so Family Life Today, or Focus on the Family, rather, they posted this. And so I don't know if they're quoting or where at any rate, it's out there. And I can link it. Actually, we shared it. So we shared this on our Facebook. So at any rate, so Facebook is shutting down accounts from Christian ministries and counseling groups that help men and women find freedom from homosexual, transgender sin. Many of the organizations also support and encouragement for family members of the LGBT identity or identified individuals. Sorry, that was very choppy. Okay, so there is a list on there of these ministries, okay, and so one of this Denise Schick, I think is how you pronounce her name. She's the executive director for Help for Families and Livingstone Ministries. She told us, and this is the Daily Citizen, that she was not notified by Facebook when her accounts were deleted. She only found out when she went to the sites and found that they were gone
Yikes.
with the notice, this content isn't available right now. So Facebook has banned hate speech, which it identifies as a direct attack against people rather than concepts or institutions on the basis of which they call protected characteristics: race, ethnicity, national origin, disability, religious affiliation, caste, sexual orientation, sex, gender identity, and serious disease. Okay, so
Wow.
that's wild. Okay, but then it kind of, I feel like it almost like sort of gets worse, right? Because so we understand that these Christian ministries are being blocked, and these are ministries that are helping people that are seeking their help. Okay,
Right.
Not only are they helping the individual, they're helping the families, and so these people are being shut down. Now, it's not shutting down their ministry; it's just taking them off this platform, which is, really interesting because we have freedom of speech.
Right. Right.
We have the ability to do that. And there's no law saying that we can't disagree with the LGBTQ community, transgender community, and this and that. Now, in Canada, they passed a law, which we've kind of touched on a little bit, where they have banned that. They have made it illegal for this transition therapy, which evidently all this stuff is categorized.
Yeah.
And again, it's a good article. But one of the things, man, is this. Okay, I'm sorry. So the accounts were closed after 2 reports were released by the Global Project Against Hate and Extremists, okay, targeting such specialized ministries and counseling centers. The GPAHE labels help for unwanted LGBTQ issue conversion therapy, an all-encompassing, intentionally vague phrase which is so broad as to have no meaning at all. So these people demanded that big tech companies such as Facebook, Amazon, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google silence any organizations offering help to those whose sexual attractions, identity, and behaviors that conflict with their deeply held religious beliefs. So they're pushing for this. And so this co-founder of this GPAHE, she's an extremist herself. This Heidi I can't pronounce her name, but she worked for the widely discredited Southern Poverty Law Center, the SPLC. There she led the Intelligence Report and Hate Watch blog. And so they regularly targeted mainstream Christian individuals and groups, attacking them for their beliefs in about their biblical relationships, sexuality, and marriage. Again, we shared this. It's it's an interesting article.
Yeah.
There's a lot to that, man.
I don't know where I want to start, because one of the things I don't like is the term hate speech, right? Because if that's our basis for canceling you or closing you out, define the standard then.
Right.
Who is deciding what is hate speech?
Well, in the article, it talks about transition therapy, right? Like, it's so vague. I mean, what does that mean? Well, they're wrapping up into that. Hey, I am struggling with this. I feel like it's wrong. So that conviction of the Holy Spirit that says, hey, this isn't okay. And so then I seek out that help. They're saying, no, you can't seek out help. And the thing is that it's only one-sided, right? Like, you can have the opinion that this is okay, but you cannot have an opinion that it's not. And there's no healthy dialogue about that.
No.
So then we can make anything hate speech. If you disagree with my opinion, that's hate speech. And that's disgusting.
It is disgusting, but also the standard itself doesn't make sense, because if you're going to cancel me because I disagree with your opinion, what does your opinion stand? You're disagreeing with mine.
Right, exactly.
So what's the standard of
Well, and the thing
is
that, again, and the problem that we have is that we have these companies that you can run your company however you want. However,
Right.
there is provisions from the government for these companies because they're not publishers, right? But they are. You're censoring what people are saying or what their opinion might be. Therefore, you are a publisher because you're only going to allow on your platform the things that you agree with.
I see what you're saying.
So
yeah.
there's a bigger problem
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Free speech is not, and they're backed by the government, right?
Right,
But free speech
right.
is not necessarily being suppressed by the government per se. Hey, you have this constitutional right. Free speech is being suppressed by big tech, which monitors and covers everything, right? Like they're pushing for Amazon, Google, right? I think Google owns what 90 some odd percent
It's
of
insane.
all the world's search engines,
Yeah.
man. So tell that what?
Yeah. So
That's
from the
a
outset, when
lot
you're
of
trying
control,
to get to truth or knowledge, whatever it is,
Right.
well,
Yeah.
they got your search engine. I mean,
Well, I looked and well, actually you're wrong. No,
Yeah.
that's not true. Because if the only thing you're gonna find is things that affirm
that they're going to
that
push.
garbage,
Right.
good grief. How can we get there? But we live in a world where truth is relative. So.
That's too bad, man. So I guess my point where I'm going is like, well, what's the standard of this, right? If we're gonna say, no, you guys can't say like, you can't have a problem with gender fluidity and all this nonsense, or you can't say a sexual orientation is right or wrong. You can't say any of that. On whose authority?
Right.
Because I have authority that says otherwise.
Right.
That we absolutely can call it out.
It's wild. It's wild, man. It's so hard to wrap my mind around. I mean, it's like we talked about this some time ago, but like Caitlyn Jenner, she's come out and talked about that I think it's Leah Thomas, that
The
Penn
swimmer? Yeah.
right? Like directly against that. Okay, and Megan sent me a video over the weekend, and it was this transgender guy who has been but he even says himself he's a woman, or he's it's so confusing to me. But nonetheless, he's gone through the process of becoming a woman.
But I didn't realize how low his placement was in the men's to where he's at now in the women's. He was like 429th in the men's.
Yeah.
Number one in the women's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
But so Megan sent me this video. I ought to forward it to you, but it's like this, he acknowledges that he went through puberty as a man, and there are clearly differences. And he talks about all these things. And like one of the things he talked about is like even the height difference, right? He's like, this should be an advantage all on its own. And
what, the height?
Yeah, or not an advantage. He said this should end the conversation on its own.
Oh.
And like he presented well, and he said, I am a biological male. Like he wasn't disillusioned by his life choices or any of that stuff. And I thought it was I appreciated the honesty, especially from someone in that community. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Now, do I agree with the life choice? No, but that's not what I'm saying. I feel like the honest dialogue was good.
Yeah.
Because what I don't like is that, I mean, if you want to believe you're a unicorn, you can believe you're a unicorn, but I don't have to believe that.
Right.
I don't have to be disillusioned by your not reality.
Right. And even to that, not only do I not have to believe it, but I also have the option of choosing reality and truth.
Right.
And living in such a way. And I also can treat you in such a way that lines up with reality. Mm-hmm. So what that means is you're not a unicorn. So I will not address you as a unicorn.
Right.
I will not treat you like a unicorn. Like, we're going to live in reality.
Right.
And that now is being called hate speech.
Right. If you legally change your name, that's I feel like I can give there. I mean, you
change your name. I'll call you, but
okay?
yeah, whatever.
But if you're a man masquerading as a woman, I don't have to call you a woman. You're a man.
It's so strange, man. I don't know. And then this is such a small, in the grand scheme of things, how important is this? I don't know, but it's an issue now. Sport. I mean, sports, it's obviously changing. And so look, here's the thing. You can take any sport, basketball, football, track. I couldn't care less. And you can say, yeah, we're just going to make it co-ed professionally. Men and women, come all, whatever shape, size, come in.
The best.
Well, guess who's going to dominate?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's fine. I'm not making fun of that.
Yeah.
But we clearly recognize that hundreds of years ago.
Right.
And that's why we make a division. There's female and there's male.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, I don't know why all of a sudden we're stupid and go, yeah, is there really a difference though? Yeah, there is.
This is clearly.
Oh my gosh, man. Okay. Hey, I'm going to throw you a softball, Chris, and see if you pass a little Christian pop quiz.
Do it.
Is homosexuality a sin?
It depends on.
Oh my. The stupidest first words you could have chosen. Well, it depends. What do you mean by?
Yes, it's a sin.
It is.
The Bible says it's a sin.
Yes, and I guess I don't want to keep repeating myself and like drive myself mad, but unfortunately, Chris, we're living in a time now where proclaimed Christians will go, I don't think the Bible says anything against homosexuality.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Right? Like we're in that day and age of
yeah. See, and that's I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I shouldn't just like Leviticus 18:22. If a man lies with a man as one lies with a woman, okay, I just painted a pretty clear picture with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a man lies with a man as one lies with a woman, both of them have done what is detestable. For fun, I guess we can continue the verse because the old law was pretty brutal. They must be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. So can we just, for a second, praise God, we're not under that anymore.
Wait, some people say that we are under the law still. So
I know, and I challenged them on that.
Doing that?
The Hebrew Roots movement, if you guys want to be consistent with following the law, you're supposed to be putting homosexuals to death. I called you out on it, and you won't do it.
We're not advocating.
Please don't, by the way.
Yeah, hold on. We're not advocating that, but understand your folly. Understand your folly.
Right.
That's what it is. We're not advocating for violence.
Picking and choosing.
Right. You're picking and choosing.
Let's continue a little bit more.
Wait, hold on.
What?
Hold on. Because that's an argument or the pushback that I have seen is like, there's no other sin that is being taken place that people are saying that are advocating that it's not sin. That's the difference here, right? When it comes to the homosexuality camp, is that people are it's not that they're saying it's so. They're saying that it is okay and that it is in fact not sin.
Right. And so then that's why
the difference. No one is saying that murder is not sin.
Right. Well,
actually,
let's challenge abortion, right? That's why it gets that's why it gets attention from the Christian community because of that false.
You're saying something that is sin.
Right.
Is not sin.
So, for example, if you went around and said, "Yeah, I cheat on my wife. I always have been. Nothing's wrong with that."
Yeah.
You're going to get pushback. You're an idiot.
Right. And why would you say that that's wrong?
That adultery is wrong?
Yeah.
Well, I'd point to scripture, obviously.
Right, exactly. And so those same people would do the same thing where it says clearly not to do these things. And then at the same time, out of the other side of their mouth, say, well, yeah, but homosexuality. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, too. And this one just, gosh, it makes me mad. And again, homosexuality is the one sin where, especially in the Christian community, we've gotten really spineless about. And we go, well, my friend is a proclaimed Christian, but he's homosexual. And he comes to church anyhow, and like, gosh darn it, he's probably okay. Dude, we're not messing around. That is someone's soul we are talking about.
Right, yeah.
So to continue in that, what you don't love that person. Okay? Well, imagine the adultery. If Chris, if I'm like, hey, I've been running around GSAHE since the day we got married, and I don't intend to stop, like it actually keeps me happy, which lets me be happy at home. So it's just good for us. Yeah, and you go, I guess if it's not splitting up the marriage, you're all right. Just keep coming to church with me, and you're not going to push back on my adulterous lifestyle at all.
Garbage.
You don't care about my soul.
No.
Okay, so is that person in that sin? Should we not worry about them? Are they fine? No, brothers and sisters. Do not be deceived. Neither the sexually immoral, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, no men who practice homosexuality, nor thieves, nor the greedy, nor drunkards, nor rivalers, nor swindlers will inherit the kingdom of God. It is black and white, crystal clear. That sin will not inherit the kingdom of God. So you have a person who is proclaiming Christianity. Yeah, I love Jesus, but I'm a, what's the oxymoron I hate? I'm a gay Christian. No, you're not.
No, you're
Knock
not.
that freaking stuff off. And I get it. people get tired of us bringing up homosexuality. Why do you harp on that so bad? Again, right, Chris? Because it's being...
You're saying something that
Is
is
not
sin
true.
is
Right.
not sin.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, because you don't do that. You don't, have parades with other like sin that you would agree is
Right.
sin, because the Bible says so.
The theft pride parade. Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's two genders, only two genders. I'll just throw that in there real quick. Well,
Yeah, may as well.
if we're gonna get canceled, I guess let's go out with a bang. Okay. We're gonna wrap it up, Chris, so you can get out of here. Is there anything we want to throw out to the listeners?
Stay classy, Santiago.
Brothers and sisters, let us know. Give us some moments from marriage, man. We could use some encouraging stories of.
Yeah, no kidding.
I want to hear from someone who's been married a long time and has got some real good pearls of wisdom for us. Or maybe some of you out there been married for a couple weeks and you're like, "Oh, I've already learned something."
Yeah.
Right? Like marriage is a pretty good coach. It teaches him stuff pretty quickly.
For sure.
That's it. I mean, this was a nice little quick one for you guys. I will say this, brothers and sisters. I want to encourage you, man. I know it is tough to look around and see stuff like that, like, people censoring Christian certain groups or content creators, and that stinks, man. But keep your chin up, man. We're doing this because we love God. We love what He did, and my goodness, is He not worthy? So take a couple hits on the chin if you have to. Don't stop speaking truth. Proclaim it instead, like we're told to. So, brothers and sisters, if you wake up and it feels like the whole country is on crack, it's because we're about to get our pipes, and we will be. So I don't know how else to leave this episode. Brothers and sisters, this has been another true discussion. Until next time, God bless. God bless. Hey there, Joseph Dobbs here from True Discussion.
Yeah, Chris Douglas.
Look, we wanted to take a second and just say thanks for either watching or listening to our content.
But mostly watching because it's YouTube. And we wanted to just ask that you would take a moment and leave us a thumbs up, that you would subscribe and of course share.
Yeah,
because you
like it
people.
and share it and subscribe. We want you to do all those things now. Sorry, but
But yeah, now.
But yeah,
what are you
please.
waiting on?
seriously.
Seriously.